All right, yo, what's up, guys? I'm gonna be doing a set 4 tier list right before ranked comes out in 3 or 4 days. I think there's going to be a patch. So right now it's 9:12, and I think there's going to be a patch on Monday, which is going to be 9:14, I think. But I'm not sure how big it is. So this is going to be as of 9:12. I think there's going to be one more patch right before it goes to live. But also, I know from my previous video, a lot of people were saying it's more convenient to have a like an alt tab guide. So I'll probably upload the pictures and it'll be in the comments below. The thing is about this is that there are so many comps in A. I just wanted to stress that out, that there's going to be so many comps in A. I try to include some pointers with lower costs chosens. So when you see them early game, which you'll see pretty often, you want to know whether or not you can play around it, and then hopefully I can give some item recommendations, like if I have these items and maybe I can go for it. But like Warlord Reroll is playing around Nidalee, like Cultists is playing around Cultists Elise, Zed is Zed, Sharpshooter is Teemo, Duelist is Suo. Like there's going to be 3 cost carries that you can easily carry, such as Chosen Callista, Chosen Aurelia, Chosen Jax. You can even do Chosen Wukong, but like a lot of times it's really rare, but it's really what you are given dictates like whether you can play it. I think this set is going to be really fun because I think one tricks are going to be actually punished, because sometimes they just give you a free top 4. You can do like Chosen Akali carry, you can do Chosen anyway. You can do like Chosen Jhin carry. You can carry basically every Chosen because the strength of the unit is so strong. But these are going to be some of the comps that are most commonly played, because you can commit early and just you have a game plan, you can't get lost, and even then the comps are really strong, even though the Chosen is a lower cost. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead. It's going to be S is Aphelios, which is going to be basically just finding a Chosen Aphelios. It can be Hunter or Moonlight, and there's two ways to play it. There's Enlightened Talon, and it doesn't matter. The Chosen is really flex. And all the A tier comps are going to be comps that are basically revolving around an early Chosen, and you just play around it with your items that you're given. So let me just start with Enlightened Talon. So this is going to be the comp. So how the comp works is, the reason this comp is so good is because you can flex your items. So the only item that you 100% need is going to be Morella Morgana. Even on Morgana 1, it's going to be top DPS, and it allows you to proc Dazzler. And Talon kind of just cleans up, and especially if you're running 4 Enlightened, the Talon actually ults and becomes untargetable and just cleans up the fight for you. Aurelia is like low-key a beast with 4 Enlightened, etc, etc. If you were to find Chosen Enlightened, I would 100% go, this is 7, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? If you find Enlightened Chosen, like for example, you can go 8, and you can just say you're not running Yone or you're not running Pike, depending on what you hit mid game, and then you can just like play a Fiora or something, and you can go 6 Enlightened. 6 Enlightened is really good, and that's why Hodge is one of the best in slots, because at 6 Enlightened, Talon is going to ult after 2 autos. But then there's also like Mystic, and you can drop, you don't even have to play Shen, you can just solo frontline Aurelia and say like I don't care about Adept. There's just a lot of ways to play. You can even find Sin Chosen, and then you can flex out of or you can flex into 4 Sin at 8. You don't have to do Adept. There's just so many ways to play this comp, and the only item you actually need is Morello. But I would recommend going for BF Sword. I think BF Sword enables the Talon a lot more, considering you only need 1 rod and 1 belt, and all your frontline items just go on Aurelia or Shen, depending on what your frontline item is. Okay, so next is going to be Aphelios. Sorry, there's no specific order. It's just SA. These are not in any particular order. Sorry about that. So this is going to be Aphelios. I think Chosen Hunter Aphelios is better. And how you play it is, once you see Chosen Hunter Aphelios, you insta buy it, and you see what. And then you basically, you only do it if you have the item sword. If you just have like strictly AP items, actually if you're loose streaking, you can probably still play Aphelios. But this champ right now is super overtuned. But I think the Hunter is a lot more overtuned than the Moonlight, because the Hunter you have to hit a lot less. But how the comp works is you go fast 7 and then you just start slow rolling. Aphelios 2 can win streak you the entirety of stage 4, assuming that you have at least 4 hunters. So you need at least like one of Ash or Warwick, Kindred, and Aphelios, and obviously the chosen Aphelios. And then you can go 8. And you just play frontline. And then if basically you're going to be fast 9ing this comp, you just go for Aphelios 3 and you don't go Moonlight. But you can go 9. You can actually pivot out your entire board. You can pivot out all the brawler frontline. Just make sure you keep 500 in your comp. But the way to play the Moonlight Aphelios version is you're going to be slow rolling on 6 or 7 for Silas 3 and Aphelios 3, and then you want Moonlight Aphelios or Moonlight Silas, preferably Moonlight Aphelios, obviously because of the extra stats. But if it were Moonlight Aphelios, both of them 3-starred, and then you can get Aphelios 4. But either way, you want as many Hunter as possible. In that version, I'd run 4 Hunter and then a Brawler frontline. 4 Hunter, Aphelios 4, Brawler frontline, and then that way Shiv gets more value. Shojin's also okay. There's a lot of good items that you can do, and then frontline items goes on the Brawlers. So those are the 2 S comps. Honestly, all the A comps are kind of gonna be comps that are playing around Chosens. So it's gonna be obvious as I go through a few. Like Warlord Reroll, Cultist, Zed Reroll, Sharpshooter Reroll, Duelist Reroll, they're all comps where you can play around a Chosen. And honestly, you can play around a lot of Chosens. Like I didn't put in Chosen Wukong. I didn't put in like just a bunch of the Chosen units. You can honestly play around almost every Chosen unit if you have the items for them. Items are more important. But anyway, let me just start with Warlord Reroll. I really enjoy this comp. It did get nerfed a little bit. So there are counters. Like for example, if you run into someone with insane frontline, chances are you're probably going to lose unless you're turbo high rolling, so you can go 9. But basically your 7 board is always going to be this. You're going to be slow rolling on 5 for Nidalee 3, and if you're high rolling, you also start picking up like Vi, Vayne, Jarvan, and then sometimes you can even slow roll on 6-7 for the Jarvan. But your 7 is always going to be Vayne, Riven for Dusk plus Keeper, and then all your frontline items go on Jarvan. Jarvan is the MVP of the comp, and then Nidalee. The reason Shojin is really good is because Sharpshooter procs the Shojin, and then the Nidalee Spear just one-shots everything. But once you hit this board, you're probably never going to lose a round, and you want to start looking to fast 9. But ideally on 7, you have this board, 3-star Nidalee and either 3-star Vayne or 3-star Jarvan. Obviously 3-star Jarvan is better, but sometimes that you won't hit on when you're slow rolling on 5 because it's only, I think, 30% on 5 to hit 2 costs. But there's a good chance you still see a lot of Jarvans, and if you have Jarvan 3, you're probably going top 4 guaranteed. But anyway, so this is Reroll Warlord. I think you really need Nidalee items. Okay, so Reroll Warlord, and then this is basically going to be the same comp as Enlightened Talon. And notice how I put only 6 slots. You can flex so much stuff at 8. You can flex, and given your Chosen. So just think about it this way, right? Like Chosen Dusk Riven, you can go for Dusk. Like Adept Aurelia, you probably want Yone for 4 Adept because it spikes an extra 2 seconds. I probably wouldn't go for Divine. You can go even for Dazzler. It's not that good, but it's like still playable. You can go for Mystic if you don't even hit a Chosen. There's just so much you can do, but basically it's going to be almost the same comp. It's going to be Morgana and Cassiopeia this time because you're running Riven, so you can get Cassiopeia for Mystic and Dusk, and then Lux Aurelia backline for Dazzler and Divine. And then you basically just go for Riven items, which is just going to be rod items. Keep in mind that Riven, this is Bramble by the way, but keep in items that Riven can also use like GA, D-Claw, QSS, Titans. There's just so many items. The only thing you really need is Morgana. This unit is so busted. But yeah, I think those are the only 2 comps where you really use Merlot. But next is Cultist. So remember what I said. It's playing around early game Chosens. So honestly, a Chosen Elise is so busted early game because her extra stat is health, and then her ult makes her transform and gains bonus HP on health. So she's just like super tanky. She's just lifestealing everything. Not only that, you can just pair with a Pike, and that's already Cultist. And 3 Cultists on stage 2 is insane, and then 6 Cultists that you can easily find because you have an extra Cultist on stage 3 is even more insane. Did I say stage 3 or stage 2? Stage 2, 3 Cultists is really good, and then stage 3, 6 Cultists is really good. But basically, you go fast 8 after high rolling this Elise Cultist, and you roll, and you probably stay 6 Cultists, and you run like Sejuani or something for Vanguard. You can run a Sharpshooter. But keep in mind that the carry is actually really flexible. I would prefer Jhin carry, and then Kalista carry, then Eve carry. But no matter what, you need a GA. GA on Jhin is turbo busted. Or not, it's not turbo busted, but it's just really good for your backline because your backline is so squishy, and then you can toggle aggro with Galio. But if you don't hit the zillion for 9 Cultist on 8, you're gonna start bleeding. But given that you found this Elise early, it's actually really easy to pivot into this comp, or just a hard forces comp. And then a lot of times you're going to be running like a stone plate on Elise or something to streak. Zed Reroll. So this one is just finding Chosen Zed. And Chosen Zed can only come Shade. And the reason it's so broken, it's not even the damage of Shade. Yeah, the damage actually got buffed recently for 4 Shade. And you can get even like 700 damage extra, magic damage. But it's more so the aggro toggle. And that's strong throughout the entire thing. So for this comp, you can also go the ninja variant, and you can just run like Shen Kennen frontline, but you need Jia and Kennen. Or you can just like splash in all these garbage cultists. It doesn't even matter because your frontline is going to be Galio. And the reason Galio is so good is because Galio can aggro toggle even further. And it's also just infinitely more frontline than any of the ninjas could offer. And Zed is going to pop off regardless of the extra like AD, the 60 AD, because you're just stealing infinite AD anyway. But just keep in mind, you actually don't need Ginsu BT. You honestly like don't need any sustain. Zed like never dies because of Shade. So all you need really is RFC. Like I've seen RFC IE like pop off. RFC IE whatever. RFC IE. Usually Deathblade isn't that good, but try to have at least one of the Ginsu or the BT. And then the last one can even be IE. It's pretty flexible. I wouldn't prefer GA though. I don't think. I mean, it's not bad. I wouldn't hate to put a GA on it, but yeah, frontline arms on Aatrox. It doesn't really matter because Galio is your main tank, and then this is just your comp. This is going to be Sharpshooter Reroll. It's given around a chosen Sharpshooter, so you can do like even Vayne if it's a fast Vayne 3 or an Italy. But I prefer you to play this comp only when it's Teamos. But like as I said, right, like there's gonna be a lot of comps on this tier list that I don't cover, but that's because you could actually just carry, like you can even carry a Jax if you wanted to, right? Like it just depends on the time you hit the Chosen, whether the Chosen's actually good for you, and I'll probably come a video for that. But how it works is you slow 7 and then you just slow roll on 7, or you could even slow roll on 6 if you're close to like Vayne Italy. But the most important units are just going to be Teemo. It's just Teemo Thresh. Like Thresh 3 is infinite frontline. And then Teemo 3 is your main carry. Shojin on Teemo is absolutely busted because at 6 Sharpshooter, it just generates, I think, 20 mana per auto. So you just generate 30 mana, so you just infinite casting. And then Teemo can just kill everything. It's really good against Sins, like Duelists and stuff like that. But this is the comp. And it revolves around Chosen Teemo. Okay, now Duelist Reroll. This is just, you need Chosen Yasuo. If you find the Chosen Yasuo early and you have like 2 out of like BF gloves and stuff like that, like bow, BF, or a glove, I'm down to just hard force. It did get nerfed a little bit, but it's still really strong. You just go triple, you just go Glass Cannon Yasuo, and this comp just hard counters the comps that don't have enough damage. For example, I was talking about the Enlightened Dazzler comp, and that like a lot of people flex those units. They just never have enough damage to kill Yasuo, especially after you have Yone. Obviously you can put in like QSS, it doesn't really matter. Kalista is a really good alternate backline carry. You just slow roll on 5 for potentially Fiora 3, Janna 3, Yasuo 3, and then you just fast, I think it's 7 for 6 Duelist. It might be 6, where you can go 6 Duelists on 6. No. It's 6 Duelists on even like 5 if you wanted to. But usually your 7's going to be Mystics with Enlightened, Fiora, and stuff like that. But yeah, you want to make sure like Janna's actually a beast, so you actually want to reroll for him. And lastly is going to be Ninja Sins. This comp honestly requires so much high roll, only because if you think about it, Akali perfect items for Akali 2 to pop off, or for Akali 2 to top for you need these 3 items, because you need the base stats from IE for her to do more damage. You need the RC for her to stay safe. You need the blue buff for instacasts. If you have Akali 3, I think there's merit to Gunblade being better than IE, but I think here is the way to go. You can flex 6 Sin if you find like a Sin Spat or a Chosen Sin, but ideally you want like Sin Kennen and you want Chosen Assassin if you're running 6 Sin. Otherwise, I don't know if it really matters. You can go like Gargoyles on Shen. You want tank items on Shen. Also, GA and Kennen is really nice, but Morello is not as necessary, but GA Morello is really good for sure. And this is just the comp. You just you 7 and you roll for Akali 2. And then you can debate on slow rolling for Kennen 3, Pike 3, Akali 3, Janna 3, Katarina 3, Zed 3. But usually not Katarina 3 because it's a little bit expensive. But you just go for 3-star everything. And sometimes you don't have the money to actually hit 3 stars. So you just kind of realize that, and you just go fast 8 and you just play like strongest board. Honestly, Akali 2 can easily do well if you play loose streak. You get the items for Akali, and then you just basically just get a top 4 that way. To win with this comp, you definitely need 3-star Akali. So if you're playing loose streak, I think you just cash out on the top 4. And then this is Ninja Sins. There's also like Chosen Wukong carry, like Chosen Jax. There's just so many. Like you can even go Chosen like Aurelia 3. You can go Chosen Callista 3. There's just so many possibilities for comps. But I think these are the most common ones because I tried to do comps that revolve around an early game Chosen. So like if you were to find an early game Chosen, and then you'd be like, oh shit, should I get this? Should I pick this up? And then you look at your items and you're not sure. So hopefully like this can help you out. Like for example, I tried to get like Nidalee, finding a Chosen Nidalee, Chosen Elise, Chosen Zed, Chosen Teemo, Chosen Yasuo, and Chosen, oh, this is no Chosen. But there's also there's infinite possibilities. I think you just have to ask, or just have to play and get a feel for some units. I think that's it.